That's what we call hot take predictions by the starter. Someone's winning tonight. Big game requires a big broadcaster. That's why Shaq is in the building, along with the entire TNT crew in Houston tonight. Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. There's Ernie Johnson, along with his entire security detail. Watch, he's got personnel all around him. Don't touch her. DK's got him. We are 2 hours from tip-off at Toyota Center. Chris Paul coming off his best game of the series. Will this be the final game of the series in Houston? Or is this best of 3 going the distance? Well, Steph Curry'd like to win the next 2 and make it a 6-game series. Steph says, we've got to be us. But here's the question. Will Steph's splash brother be in the lineup? Injury concerns, topic number 1 tonight, as we are with you with a pair of NCAA tournament most outstanding players. Tony Delk back in 96. Got Rip Hamilton back in 99. You guys are old. I'm Jared Greenberg.
Jared, we appreciate that.
Well, who are you going with, the Connecticut team or the Kentucky team?
Well, I grew up in the Northeast, so sorry, Tony.
Okay.
Oh,
Bam, there you go.
Okay then. All right.
I appreciate that, brother.
But Rip know who will win, though.
Hey.
So he already knows that 96 team.
Hey, that was pretty good, but
Yes.
I don't know if y'all could beat us, but I loved y'all team, too.
Look at this. I love it. This is Game Time. We're going to break down the All-NBA teams, which have been announced today. Plus, we'll look ahead to Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals. We know we got a long series there. We got you for the next 60 minutes, leading right into TNT's pregame coverage of Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. First, let's look at the storylines from our Game 4 the other night. Over the last 2 games, Steph Curry has scored a total of 35 points in the third quarter alone, shooting 7 of 10 from three-point territory. However, in the Game 4 loss, Curry missed 7 of his 8 shots in the fourth quarter, which was a big problem. Curry's struggles were compounded by Chris Paul's brilliance. Tuesday night, the future Hall of Famer scored 8 of his 27 in the fourth as the Rockets stormed back from 12 down to win the game and tie the series, but not before some very un-Warrior-like execution. Kevin Durant has since said that he wishes he could have this possession back. Clay got stuck in the quarter. Steve Kerr claims the refs didn't see Draymond Green signaling for timeout. And Golden State saw its win streak of 16 straight home playoff games come to an end. Now here's a look at the numbers behind the Dubs collapse and the Rockets comeback, no matter how you want to look at it here. Golden State extended its lead to 12 with 10:45 to go in the fourth, but then over the rest of the game made just 2 shots from the field. It's not like the Rockets were scorching hot either. Houston hit just under 37% from the field. However, the Rockets dominated the paint and the glass and made the Western Conference Finals a best-of-3 series.
You can't just rely on your talent. When a team's getting into you and they're putting pressure on you and they're switching everything, you got to execute. It's the basics, it's the fundamentals, getting open, better passing, better ball movement. But it all starts with the force with which you play. Standing and waiting for a ball 30 feet from the hoop, which we were all doing, that's not playing with force.
All right, so not much panic there from the Warriors as we bring a guy who never panics, the even-keeled Sekou Smith from NBA.com and the Hang Time podcast. Sekou joining us tonight courtside from Houston. All right, let's begin here with the obvious, the injury concerns for Klay Thompson and for Andre Iguodala. What's the latest you're hearing?
The latest we're hearing that, Klay is definitely going to play. And that Iguodala is still, to be determined, Jared. It's strange, how different a team they are without Iguodala out there, to kind of calm things down. But Steve Kerr has spoken to that, and it showed up, pretty evident at the end of Game 4, not having him out there, what kind of impact that had on the Warriors at the end of that game.
Yeah, and he mentioned today about the roster imbalance where they don't have a plethora of wings or guards to go to when guys get injured or in foul trouble. So is he going to turn to a big he hasn't used, or what does he expect from guys where he's got a lot of depth at up front?
Yeah, I don't think you should expect to see Zaza Pachulia or anybody like that. I think it's going to still be that same rotation of guys. Bell and certainly Looney are going to have to play big roles. They're going to have to play better. They're going to have to play better, more quality minutes than what we saw from them in Game 4. But Steve Kerr is convinced, and I think, his staff, they've studied all the numbers and everything else. The matchups, tell them that they have to stick with what they've been doing so far. You can't change right now and expect to have success against a Rockets team that, of all the teams in the league that they could be dealing with, this is one that doesn't mind the Warriors going to a smaller lineup because they can match up and play that way as well.
Yeah, a lot of pressure in Game 4 on the Rockets' backcourt, seeing if they were able to overcome their playoff demons. Not only did they do that, but they overcame the Warriors' double-digit lead. So when you go to Game 5 here now, back at home, and James Harden, who didn't have a great game but played well in the first half the other night, what is expected of him to pick up the slack tonight?
Well, it's a huge game for him. And, you know, we talk about the Warriors and how every game builds on this dynasty and what their legacies are going to be. Well, this is a game for James Harden, and to a lesser extent Chris Paul, changes a legacy. You know, if James Harden can dial up an MVP-like performance today, that gives him another notch in his belt to kind of wipe away the smear that he's had from his previous stints in the playoffs. Everybody talks about his 2012 flameout when he was with the Thunder, and obviously last year against the Spurs when he just ran out of glass completely. People look at that and want to criticize him and take apart his game because of what they saw then. This is an opportunity for him to get rid of some of that and to start a new narrative.
All right, Sekou Smith, NBA.com. He'll be covering the game for you tonight from Houston. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, let's give you tonight's Limelight stats. They're presented by Corona Extra. Take a look at the Warriors and the way their offense has operated against the Spurs and the Pelicans, and then how it's operated over the first 4 games of this series against the Rockets. And let's say this, too. Right, Houston's a better defensive team than a lot of people want to give them credit for. Maybe they have a lot to do with this here. Is that the case? Is it more about Houston, or is it more about the Warriors getting away, Rip, from their identity?
Well, I definitely think Houston has better defenders, and especially better defenders on the perimeter. When you got guys like P.J. Tucker that sometimes plays the 4 position and is able to go out there and switch on a Steph Curry, it allows them to still stay connected and still stick to their principles. So if you watch some of these plays right here, especially late in the game when Steph Curry got the ball, you see Capella, he gets up and he tries to take away his airspace, because if Steph Curry has any type of weakness, is getting to the basket and finishing over a bigger guy. So Capella does a great job of staying low, staying connected, and staying to his body. Again, if you watch Klay Thompson right now catching the ball this far away from the basketball, he's not the type of player that wants to go ahead and make a play off a dribble penetration. He wants to come off a pin down, get a curl, and get a wide open shot like that. Now they have to hurry up, force the ball to KD, and he got to take a pressure shot with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Again, same thing with Steph Curry. Right here, he hasn't been able to get shots off pin downs, off dribble handoffs. So what they try to do is try to find a matchup that he can create and make a play off. But James Harden, again, does a great job taking out away his airspace, forces him to drive, but Steph doesn't want to drive every time, so he settles for a bad 3-point shot. So I think Houston Rockets got defenders, guys that can really get up in guys and take away guys what guys like to do on the offensive end.
And when they built this team around James Harden, they had to have guys that make sure they hide his weaknesses. But when he's guarding Kevin Durant, you know, because of respect, he's going to play a lot harder. You saw when he picked him from the half court at the NBA 3-point line, he was able to go down and get a layup. But I just think the toughness that they have with Tucker, Reza, CP3, those guys are looking forward to a matchup with anyone. They're not concerned about if it's Steph, if it's Klay. It doesn't matter.
Didn't James Harden show us the other night, though, that the effort can be there? Right? Like, you don't have to be the best defender in the world if you put in that effort on both ends.
But he respects the guy he's guarding. So if he's ever switched off on KD or Steph, he's going to get down in the stands, and you're going to see him play much better defense than he would be on someone he doesn't respect or someone who's not going at him. So you can't really, when you get to the Final Four teams, it's all about execution, but also your players have to be ready to play defense, because you can't be looking for someone to help. That starts to get rotations, and before you know it, you're going to give up a layup or a 3-point shot.
We'll watch that tonight and see if he's playing defense every possession the way James Harden did the other night.